Bladen Soul launches its first PvP preseason and more with Rising Waters. Nosgoth drops the details on the new Beastmaster class. H1Z1 splits into 2 games for some reason, and Path of Exile is ramping up for its Acendancy expansion.
We can live forever.
What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending February 15th, 2016. And happy day after Valentine's Day, or Single Awareness Day for some. But starting out the news this week, Skyforge teaches us a little bit about love. See, when you're on another planet with your love and you come across a mutant space bear, you need to be prepared as the correct class first off, or at least have the decency to teach your girl how to play dead beforehand so that way if you happen to get slapped around by said space bear, she doesn't get mauled. Or of course she can just become immortal and not really have to worry about it. And you can continue to fall in love together with godlike powers. Lesson learned. Thanks, Skyforge. The new trailer for the March of Knowledge event going on in Skyforge is actually kind of cool. It's kind of funny as well. Of course, you can expect mini-games, Valentine's-themed costumes, and limited-time love packs, which also give you instant access to the Monk and Kinetic classes. Not exactly sure how long the event lasts, but head over to the site posted at MMOHuts.com for more details and features of the event itself. Launching this past Wednesday, February 10th, Bladen Soul brings its first major content update called Rising Waters. This new update includes Bloodshade Harbor, an instance for 4 to 6 player parties, Nightshade Harbor, a 24-player raid, and the first 7 levels of Mushin's Tower, which is a single-player heroic dungeon. Bladen Soul is also celebrating Valentine's Day with new costumes released in the Hung Moon store, but those are extremely limited time items, so they may be gone quick, as in already. But speaking of Hong Moon, this update also adds in new Hong Moon levels and skills for each class. For PvP fans, the Rising Waters update marks PvP Preseason 1, which will run from February 10th to March 9th. Check out the full patch notes from the link in the description below for more details. Next up, Black Desert revealed details for its second closed beta test, the final beta test phase before its launch on March 3rd. But as a quick reminder, you can already register your name if you've pre-ordered the game, which will also give you direct access to the second closed beta test starting this week on February 18th through the 22nd. The new features that have opened up for the second closed beta include an all-new karma system, which balances players' kills and death penalties, French and German localization, much-needed tutorial videos, adjustments to experience gain and an increase to the level cap to 55, an improved user interface, plus plenty of new voiceovers have been added in as well. Pre-ordering the game, of course, is the best way to get into the closed beta, unless you happen to be able to pick up a beta key from a giveaway. That being said, keep a lookout at the giveaway section at MMOHuts.com, you just might have your chance. Speaking of changes in beta, this past week, ASTA Online laid out its plans for changes coming to its open beta, which is supposed to be happening really soon. For starters, tie tokens will be more rare, and exchange rewards have been buffed. We'll see improved summoning and enchanting systems to reduce the need to farm gold. Improved chat channels will be added in, which will help block lists and report spam to combat gold sellers. That's always nice. Beyond that, Webzen also revealed that the Berserker class will not be released in open beta. Instead, the dev team will be focusing on improving the core gameplay first, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Next up, Star Wars The Old Republic has officially launched Anarchy in Paradise, a new chapter in the Knights of the Fallen Empire storyline. In this chapter, Firebrand is your latest ally, and an infamous merc with a grudge against the Eternal Throne. Of course, her mission is to destroy the Eternal Empire by attacking Zakul, and in the process, crushing the Seat of Power by any means necessary. And as the Outlander, you get to decide just how far you're willing to go in the name of victory over the Eternal Emperor. Again, here you'll experience the grim consequences of your past decisions as they play out within your alliance. Better be good ones. Sort of continuing all the hero, champion, and class reveals from last week's recap, Nosgoth released a video introduction to the new human Beastmaster class. Known as the Scourge of the Wild, Beastmasters cleanse the land of weakened vampires is an excellent support for the group. Getting right into it, the Beastmaster has the ability to transform into Treshach, a bat-winged, three-eyed, and horned bird of prey that is great for fleeing or catching weak enemies off guard. When transformed, you gain 2 specific abilities. Wrath of the Firebird projects a series of fireballs at the enemy, dealing decent damage, and Swoop dives towards the ground, knocking down nearby enemies on impact, setting you and your allies up for the kill. But that's only half the show. The Beastmaster wields a variety of shotguns, of course each one equipped for the right job. This is definitely a weapon I'm gonna like. His primary abilities include Leyline, an ability that increases his fire rate and that of an ally, or of course you can just choose to use Power Shot instead, which is a powerful shotgun blast that really knocks back enemies. His secondary abilities include Nature's Fury, which is an explosive that will blow over time or can be shot in the air for a larger, more deadly explosion if you can somehow pull that off. I mean, you do have a shotgun, so it's possible. And finally, you have Chain Lightning as a secondary alternative that lets you shoot a bolt of lightning that jumps between enemies dealing damage and then jumps to allies to reach further targets. It's a pretty sweet new human class if you ask me. Sadly, I didn't get to preview it this time around, but we now have a flying human class. That alone can be deadly. Not exactly sure when we'll see the new class in game, but it can't be any more than a week from now. Likewise, Hi-Rez followed through with their Paladins gameplay reveal of the latest champion, Grover, or Groot, or Sylvanas' tree. Like I mentioned last week, Grover uses his axe to slap enemies around, can throw it to deal the damage from a distance, can close said distance with a vine swinging ability, and is capable of healing allies that are close by, say, helping capturing a point continuously with an aura that can easily be switched over to harm enemies instead, so just being around Grover as an enemy hurts. On the other hand, lots of changes came in with Grover in patch 14 that I can't really say that I'm a huge fan of, honestly. This time around, they've added more specialization features to each champion to give players more depth when building their teams before the match begins. This includes giving players the options to counter specific strategies. That sounds fine and dandy, but they've reworked all of the cards once again to better fit this design philosophy. That, along with the fact that you now upgrade cards that you've pre-selected before the match starts instead of selecting during and as is, makes it feel like an entirely different game where you really need to focus on the champion's build rather than the match play and objectives themselves. I don't know, I just kind of liked it when it was simplified beforehand. It felt a little bit more directly skill-based like Team Fortress 2. Either way, the game is constantly evolving, so much so that my first look is not even remotely relevant anymore. Hi-Rez has done a really good job with Smite, so I definitely have faith in them to make Paladins awesome in the end, patch by patch. I guess we'll see. Interesting enough, Daybreak Games announced this past week that it'll actually be splitting H1Z1 into 2 separate games, stating that the decision was made to support both the survival and battle royale aspects of the game. Daybreak confirmed that H1Z1 will become 2 games as of February 17th, so this Wednesday. H1Z1 Just Survive will focus on the open-world zombie survival experience, while H1Z1 King of the Kill will focus on battle royale and other fight-to-the-death game modes. And King of the Kill will be brought out of early access this summer. I'm honestly not sure why they feel the need to make 2 separate games here. Like, what sort of conflicts did it cause to have the developers stop and realize that having the existing game modes together was just too much for one game? Oh, wait! It would make them more money to separate them. Gotcha. To add to that, something we suspected was going to happen anyway, Daybreak also confirmed that they have no plans to make either one of the H1Z1 titles free-to-play. That is the cherry on top. On another low note, Motiga, developers on Gigantic, announced more temporary layoffs for their studio. According to their post, the financial situation is such that they are unable to continue supporting the entirety of the studio at this point in time. Although they are actively looking for potential investors, the timing for those negotiations extends beyond the resources they have to maintain the staffing required to continue development on the game. You can rest partly assured that they will continue to develop and support the game, but these layoffs will affect many sectors within Motiga. So unfortunately, this is what happens to even hyped up games that don't start out with founders packs to help fund them, like every other free-to-play game that seems to do nowadays. And it definitely doesn't help that it's a Windows 10 exclusive game. I hope for the best. It's a really fun game. And finally, for the last bit of news, also a very fun game, Path of Exile is approaching the launch of its Acendancy expansion on March 4th, and in doing so, Grinding Gear Games has released several Ascendancy class reveal videos showcasing specializations players can work towards after defeating Izaro in his labyrinth, which is obviously the main part of the expansion. As you might have learned from my exclusive Guardian Templar class reveal video, there are a total of 19 Ascendancy classes, 3 for each class, minus the Scion only having 1. But you have 6 skills to choose from within each class, but you can only spec out with 3, so you definitely have to have a plan going in. The passive points in these specialization trees are pretty intense, and seeing that you can start to unlock them after completing the Trials of Ascension, basically just after Act 3 and killing Izaro on each difficulty, you can make handling the already more difficult Act 4 that much easier. Be sure to check out the Acendancy class reveal trailers along with my exclusive reveal of the Guardian from the links in the description below to prepare yourself come March 4th. But anyway guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements for this week. Like always, if you're looking for more information about the news featured in the recap, check the links in the description below or head over to MMOHuts.com for plenty more up-to-the-hour news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. But until next time guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.